What's up, everybody? It's Erin.
And Nicole, this is Dude That's Fucked Up.
Welcome.
Welcome.
How you doing?
How's everyone out there in the internets? You know?
We love you. How you doing?
We love you. Yeah.
Hope you're well.
Yeah, me too.
You might not be well after this episode, but...
You know what? Okay, yeah. I mean, disclaimer, way right up at the top. You don't need to eat during this episode. But once we get to the end, you will know that it has affected you whether or not you want it to. Right?
Okay. Sure.
Is that right? Is that safe to say?
That's safe to say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I fully agree.
Okay. But it's gross. It's going to sound gross, but like, you know. Did that sound like a fart? It was the cord for the...
It sounded like... No, it didn't sound like a fart per se. It just... I mean, I don't know what
if I go like this?
Oh, yeah, kind of, yeah.
If I make the fart face?
If you make a fart face, it sounds like a fart. Bitch. Oh, my God. Okay. Well, hey, welcome to our podcast. If you are new here... Hope you haven't turned it off yet. Oh, dearie me. Yeah, we talk about just some real silly stuff here. So
that's right.
It's serious sometimes. It could be serious. This could be a serious episode.
This could?
Maybe. Well, not serious, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it could be seriously funny.
We'll see. Well, before we get to our topic, do we have any business?
We're working on merch. We're like actively working on new merch. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, we're looking at like products that we want to like possibly put on our website to sell. Just, you know, kind of like we're getting samples, stuff like that. So stay tuned. Hopefully, you know, we can make it work. And yeah, they're like the stuff that we're getting samples of is cool. And yeah, so we'll keep you posted. Yeah, and
it's
fun.
stuff I would buy.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, so we're working on that. And like we've like said this for like so long that we have wanted to do new merch for a long time, but we're finally actually moving on it.
Honestly, it's just so overwhelming. I think, but in our Discord, some of our patrons, they gave us some suggestions, and so we were like, okay, that makes it easy. You know, give me some guidelines,
parameters.
Yeah. I need guardrails so that I can make decisions, because otherwise, I am paralyzed with fear, and I will not make any decisions, and it's just hard. So we got the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good start.
Yeah. So coming soon. And speaking of our Discord, go to our Patreon. It's DTFU podcast. Or sorry, it's Discord, not Discord. Jesus.
It's our
Christ.
our Patreon.
Our Patreon
/DTFU podcast. Yeah.
But that's how you get to the Discord is through our Patreon.
Yes. And there's a Patreon only option if you're so inclined.
Yes.
To
check
come
that
hang
out
with us every day.
Yeah.
Every day, all day.
Sweet. That's the biz. Anything fucked up for you this week?
Oh my God. Okay, was the BMI episode last week? No. It was 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Because we're recording on a weird day this week.
Yeah.
So
right.
But as of recording, it was our last episode that we posted. Well, so I was gonna say, speaking of BMI, oh my God. So I had some blood work done. Because I needed to get a refill on my thyroid medication that I've been taking since I was like 20, and it's like, no, everything's fine, just give me more. And so they're like, well, we need blood work, you know, and then do a telehealth appointment. And so I had to go. First of all, when I went to get my blood work done, I fasted, which I'm supposed to. I didn't know I was going to have to take a urine test. I didn't know they were ordering those panels. And I had no urine. I had just a little dribble. it wasn't the fault like they did last time of the woman at the desk where I asked when I got there if I could go to the bathroom because this was further away. And so I got there and I went pee and then I literally sat right back in my seat and she goes, I'm so sorry, but we're going to need a urine sample. And I was like, I just went.
Oh, no.
And so
they could do it after your appointment, too.
Oh, that's true. Well, oh, no, they couldn't that time because I was getting an IUD and they have to make sure you're not pregnant. So anyway, but this time it was just blood work. So they did do it after, but I just didn't have very much. I've started running a few weeks ago.
They could do it. They could do it with a little bit.
They could do it. But this is the thing. So today I had an appointment, like a telehealth appointment, and they were like, did they not tell you? Oh, they're like, oh, yeah, your urine panel. Oh, I'm guessing they just handed you the cup and told you to pee in it and they didn't tell you like how to do it because I think it was contaminated because I must have like touched myself with it or like not cleaned enough or whatever. You know, like I didn't clean it all. Usually they give you like a soap wipe. They didn't give me one. I went in dirty. Like, I had showered that morning, but you know what I mean?
But you got to wipe your labes.
Yeah, you got to wipe your labes, the min and the mon.
The min and the maja.
Oh, yeah, the Nora and the Jora.
The menorah and the majora. You got to get your flaps.
Yeah.
You got to get the mud off your flaps.
No, you got to de-mud your flaps.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
I feel
like I'm
dirtier, Nora or Jora? Who's a dirtier flap?
Jora.
Yeah, she's on the outside.
She's outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's catching all the strays. I'm an expert at doing piss tests because I had to do them literally every like 2 weeks when I was pregnant. So I'm like wiping those flaps, pissing in the cup. There you go.
I didn't even give me a wipe. Anyway, that stuff came back weird. Because it would, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I just didn't do it right, but they didn't seem to care. But then also, my blood work. Oops, my
cholesterol.
Oh, my cholesterol is back up because my weight's back up since last summer. About probably 20 pounds since my dad died, which is the anniversary is this week. So I've been really coping with food for the past year, mostly pastries. I like a good morning cheese Danish.
You know what?
Who doesn't?
So does most of fucking Europe, okay?
I know, but they're not also eating just like a full burrito for lunch. I have not been making good decisions is what I'm saying.
Okay, that's fair. They're not burrito heavy over there.
No. They're not also burrito.
It's like a one or the other situation.
They're not making nighttime cookies every night. They're not making a hot chocolate chip nighttime cookie.
I feel like they do in Sweden, okay? Or
but this is like
somewhere
select
cozy
countries and their one vice. I've gathered them all. I'm like, what's the worst thing from every culture? Put it on my diet. And can you fry it? Like a cheeseburger. How about a cheeseburger egg roll? Let's deep fry that thing. I get them like twice a week in the hangar. Don't worry about it.
Oh, fuck.
I know. No. Today my mom's like, do you want to go to the hangar this weekend and get cheeseburger egg rolls? I was like, I can't. I've been bad.
Mom, I need to go on statins, okay?
Yeah, I'm on statins. That's the thing, dude. They're like, we need to kick you up a notch. I'm like, what if I just lose some weight? They're like, well, that would work too.
They'll always say that.
They'll like always say that, but it's true in my case. I'm not speaking for everyone, but I have gained 20 pounds, and in that time, all my labs have gone to shit. So
yeah.
It's stress. I'm just like dealing with so much shit. And also I started running, which is good, like 5 weeks ago, but I think I've also like been retaining water from that too, so my weight went up, so my BMI went up. I looked at that thing, I was like, I know this is fake, so I'm not even gonna let it bother me. But the panels did
that's what you should pay attention to.
The panels, even my blood sugar's bad. Like,
oh, no.
And that's never happened. And I'm like, oh no, because it's my nighttime cookies probably, and the morning Danish. They were like, cut out complex carbs, cut out alcohol. I was like, okay, I've like cut back on alcohol. I do eat a lot of sugar and carbs because my diet is cookies and pastries. So it's almost exclusively complex carbs.
You're like an elf at the North Pole, baby.
I'm Santa. I'm Mrs. Claus.
No, you're not.
You
know what? You're fine.
I'm fine. No,
You know now what you need to.
Oh,
You've identified your trouble spots, and you're gonna take care of it.
I knew. I didn't care. I this whole time I'm like, my pants have stopped fitting, and then I'm like, no, whatever. I'm like, Pete, nighttime cookies.
Pete's not gonna say no.
I know. Bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
We're having nighttime cookies after this. I don't care. We already bought
last
them at
time.
Whole Foods.
DJ always goes, our diet starts Monday, and as we're like eating something, like, oh my god,
it's such a meme. But it's been, this week is also just really hard, and I don't care. So I'm just like, I need to find better coping skills, I think, is the net of it. So I'll be bringing that up to my therapist next week. But in general, I need to stop eating so much sugar.
Fair enough.
Anyway, what is fucked up this week in your world?
Oh man. Okay. Well, so it was just Passover last week, and we physically went to Passover with family for the first time in 2 years, at the synagogue. Like, Bubby rented out a whole banquet room for 20 of the family.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was fantastic.
A real life event.
It was a real fucking Passover.
Yeah.
And as I was like getting ready for, going up to a family dinner, I was like, all right, I gotta like we're dressing up, this is a fucking event. So I haven't dressed up in a long time. So I put on my cute pantsuit, and I was like, I need a heel to go with this. Great. I pull out a heel. I'm like, yes, I'm stunning. I'm working it.
Oh my God.
Looking good. And I'm like walking around in the heels, and I'm like, these feel very stiff. Like, I haven't worn them in, I think, like 2 years. So I'm walking around, and, we're getting in the car. As I go to get in the car, they just disintegrate. The shoes just disintegrated off my foot, off my left foot. And I was like, okay, like there's bitch. They just sat in my closet for 2 years, and they just broke down.
Oh my God.
I hadn't touched them in so long. I mean,
the fabric of, or like not the heel.
No, not the heel. It was like the strap part over the top of my foot,
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like, the
what I'm talking
material
about?
got hard. I thought you meant like when you stepped into the shoe, it felt like hard to walk in or something. Like, it was like,
no, it was the straps felt really weird and stiff, and I was like, all right, we're just like going, we're ready, let's go, running up the kids and stuff, walking around, and then as I'm getting in the car, the strap just like it disintegrated, like it's like powder almost.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
That's right. And so I was like, okay, shit, I need to put on a new pair of shoes. So I go upstairs. I was like, oh, this is a cute heel. It's like, like leather with whatever. That's fine. I go to put it on. The fucking strap of this shoe had separated completely from like the like cloth material that's underneath that touches your skin, from the leather. And it was just like pieces. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like a fucking relic from a mummy's tomb. It's just like, I couldn't wear it. So I just like wore some, flats.
House slippers.
Yeah, basically.
Oh my God. Do you have, okay, this is going to freak you out. Do you have moths?
Yes, dude.
Is that what happened?
I'm sure it is.
The moths are sucking all the moisture out of the shoe fabrics.
Well, and also I have a window in my closet, so I think it's just like it's not climate controlled by any means. But the point is, I haven't put on real shoes, on a real heel in 2 years. So
oh my God.
They're just, whoops! I need to buy new shoes, I guess.
Oh no!
I have to buy new shoes. So yeah, as like we're getting back into the world, of course, like, that's happening. But like, you know what? This is a perfect segue though that you mentioned moths. Speaking of moths,
oh my God,
one fucking landed right in my wine glass. I literally poured myself a glass of wine, set it on my desk.
Right now,
I
it's in
went
there.
No, God, no.
Oh.
I fished it out, but I like, came upstairs, like got all my shit ready to record. I set it down. I went to like go grab myself a water, and then I come back, and like within 1 minute, there's a fucking moth, a goddamn fucking moth. I hate moths so much, and this is another reason 1,000,000 and 2,000 why I hate moths.
Okay, but that's a fucking moth you'd want to party with, because it wasn't attracted to the light. It's like, give me in that wine, bitch.
Yeah, it's like, hi, what's up? So I go to fish it out, and there's like the fucking moth dust is just like floating on the surface of the. I hate moths. So all that is to say,
is there a difference between moth dust and regular dust?
I mean, I don't know.
I know. It's probably grosser.
How'd that moth get all that dust on it? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, because it's doing moth things, like being in the closet with all the dusty shit.
What if that? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. So, I obviously like I like got like a thing to scrape off all the like moth dust.
Yeah.
And I'm still drinking it. And then I swirled it around, and I was like, whatever.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
So, this is a perfect segue though to like let you guys know. And this is something that I've always known, but didn't really ever want to think about it.
Compartmentalizing is what it's called.
Compartmentalizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys know this yet, but I regret to inform you that there's bugs and bug fragments and bug moth dust and whatnot and rodent poop fragments and all kinds of other stuff in our food all the time.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, it's so nasty.
I'm drinking moth dust right now, guys.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm drinking. I mean, I would never disparage liquid death, but I'm sure there's some sort of, particles in here.
Oh, the moth dust got me.
Ooh, it's so dusty.
Yeah, so it's real though. There's food comes from the earth. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some kind of something in there.
I mean, we'll talk about like different kinds of foods. Obviously, you expect it when you buy vegetables and stuff.
Yeah.
But
we're talking about we're also like things that you would think this has been through a rigorous inspection.
Yes.
It's a very processed food.
Highly processed, yeah.
There's still going to be some trace amounts of, Beetle Dick and like, I don't know. Or maybe a little mouse hair or 500. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
if that's
what we're
Beetle
specifically
Dick.
talking.
I want to see that movie.
Beetle Dick.
It's showtime, but it's a dick. Or is it a porn with Beetlejuice?
Yeah,
okay,
that's what I thought.
I was thinking like about. It's a dildo. Like it's like a true to form.
A product.
Yeah, it's like it's like a prosthetic penis essentially, and he's Beetlejuice. And they're like, "What's that dildo doing in your miniature set?" And
dude, I bet it already exists. I bet it
Beetle
already
Dick?
exists.
Yeah. Sick.
Oh.
I would. No.
I would.
No, I don't. I was gonna say I would maybe like if that was a cool looking character, if someone drew it like very metal, it'd make a cool tattoo.
I don't want something on my body forever, so
that says Beetle Dick. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
You might want to get a very specific job someday, and they'll be like, like when you run for Congress or something, and they're like, Erin Saul, you've seen her on the beach. You know she loves dick, but it's not even human. She loves Beetle Dick. And then it like zooms in on your gross tattoo. It's all like long and misshapen.
It's like on older. The worst part of my body. It's like on my like up like on my side torso. Like
no, it's on your back like a tramp stamp facing down, so it looks like the dick's going in your butt. In your crack.
Oh my god.
Or it's on the side of your face looking like it's in your mouth. Anyway.
Oh, any kind of face tattoo is no bueno.
Yeah, those aren't great.
I've seen some classy ones, but anyway, we digress.
Classy ones. Okay. Classy face tattoo. That's some oxymoron, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, people get their eyebrows tattooed, so.
Oh, that's true. Or lip liner,
you know?
or eyeliner sometimes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Or a mole.
I don't know what people are doing. Show me a.
You do you.
You do you. Oh, okay. Anyway, unhinged already.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing red eyeshadow.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
We already knew I was unhinged when this started. Okay.
Well, okay, so what we're specifically talking about is the allowable, quote unquote allowable. It's not allowable. It's just like the levels of which
acceptable
allowable amounts of trace amounts of, these insect substances like foreign matter, allowed in our food.
Yeah.
And so there is a handbook by the FDA called the Food Defect Action Levels of natural or unavoidable defects in food that present no health hazards for humans. And that, like I said, is a publication.
Yeah,
that's a mouthful. That's the title.
The book is, the first 40 pages are just the title.
Yeah.
It's a big book.
Yeah. It's the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, which details the acceptable levels of food contamination from sources such as maggots, thrips, insect fragments, quote, foreign matter, mold, rodent hairs, and insect and mammalian feces. And if you're, like I said, I always kind of knew this in the back of my mind. That was the thing. Like, if you've ever opened like a bag of oatmeal or something, and you've found like a weevil in it, or like you're like, did this come from my cabinet or did it come from the processing facility? I don't know.
Yeah,
who's to say?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always been a thing, because food is food. It comes from the earth.
Or like even when you're measuring out like sugar or flour or whatever, and there's just like a tiny little speck that looks different from, like, it floats. Like you add it to the liquid or whatever and it like floats to the top and you're like, what's all this stuff that's floating?
Just another like reason to sift your flour, sugar, all your dry ingredients.
Sure.
So the FDA keeps like a kind of list in this handbook of all the things that are allowed in processed food or food in general. If you're like me, immediately you're like, what's a thrip? And I'm just wondering if you know, because that was like the one thing. I mean, I'm upset by foreign matter because that's a catch-all. I like, as gross as it sounds, maggots, insect fragments, mold, rodent hairs, even feces. I know what that is. Yeah. Foreign matter, catch-all, real upset by that. But also a thrip. I did not know what that is. And so I'm curious if you know what that is, or if you have any guesses as to what that is based on like Beetle Dicks. And a thrip, I feel like, is a moth fart. I don't know. I don't think moths fart. I actually bought Jack
I don't
a
think
book.
moths fart.
I don't think they do.
No, I don't think they do, but it's weird that that's even, like, I've never thought about it. And now I wish they did.
Well, I bought Jack a book called Does It Fart? It's like a kid's, it's like an adult book, but there's also a kid's book version of it. And I learned today that certain things don't fart.
What? Like what?
What was it that I was...
Like a snake probably doesn't fart.
No, I think they do. Shit, what was it?
Out their mouths, though, probably.
Did you just see that moth fly in my face? Fuck. I have moths. I'm fucking cursed. They are coming for me because I'm besmirching their fucking...
They're like, I'll show you a fart.
Yeah, right in your... See, bitch ass... Like, moths will fucking fly in your mouth. That's why I hate them.
Yeah, you hate them.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, I don't know. What do you think a thrip is?
Well, I thought a thrip sounds like something that like a term Snoop Dogg would have coined in like the early 2000s to me. You know, like faux shizzle. It's like thrip is like I don't know. Like I don't know what the word is, but it just sounds like a cool like a cocktail or like some form of blunt, but you dip it in like
gin and juice.
Yeah, gin and juice, maybe. Yeah, or like, or you take a big thrip off of a, except you take a big thrip instead of a rip off
your
the
jewel.
joint, off your jewel, off of your jewel specifically.
I don't know. It sounds to me it could be like when you're on a budget and you need to do shrooms. It's like a thrifty trip. I don't know.
It's microdosing. Shrooms.
Microdosing.
It's a thrip.
Yeah.
It's a thrifty trip. I love it.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a gross bug. It's
a gross bug. Yeah, it's a bug.
Yeah. It's a minute black-winged insect that sucks plant sap and can be a serious pest of ornamental and food plants. That's like decorative or food plants when present in large numbers. So it makes sense that it's listed on here because food plants, obviously, we're packaging food, so they're going to be in there.
Yeah. So this FDA publication details the acceptable amounts of contaminants on a per food basis. So like different types of foods have different levels of acceptable amounts of each type of contaminant. And it lists both the defect source, like pre-harvest infection, processing infestation, processing contamination, etc. And significance, whether it's aesthetic or if it's a potential health hazard or if it could cause like a mouth or tooth injury. Because like there's some cases where it's like foreign matter could mean like sand or glass, even like shit like that. Plastic. Yeah. So for example, the limit of one moment. I'm good. I just took a huge swig of water earlier. Okay, so for example, the limit of insect contaminants allowed in a canned or frozen peaches is specified as, quote, in 12 1-pound cans or equivalent, one or more larvae and or larval fragments whose aggregate length exceeds 5 millimeters.
Oh,
bitch.
My God.
That's the limit.
Okay. I'm so curious about how this can be measured, though.
I know.
Because it's like, we found 5 1 millimeter larvae in these cans. That's acceptable.
Well, that's why every single food distributor has a quality assurance department.
Yes.
That it's all very rigorous and very important that all of our food goes through these quality assurance checks. And it is very rigorous. Like our country is like at the tip top of like food standard.
In terms of cleanliness and production. And it's because we had a very horrible history with that sort of thing.
Read The Jungle by Upton Sinclair.
Dude.
That's the meatpacking industry, and that's how the FDA came to be.
Yep.
That's for another day, though.
Yeah.
But this is like part of that. The FDA has to help monitor this.
Yeah.
And, if shit gets out of line, they'll shut shit down.
Yeah.
So the food defection action levels was first published in 1995, and you could go to the FDA.gov and you could find all the information that you want about it.
It's so wild. Like, it's just so wild. Like you said, there's like a list of things, and we're going to give some examples later, but it's just so wild that there's like a list, and like the FDA is just like, it's like a diary. It's like, it makes me think of like, Dear Diary, Today, when checking a can of Hormel chili, I allowed for the maximum allotted maggots. And I and I just wanted to note that here. And then it's like, whatever, it's just like, I don't know. It's so weird to me that like, or even like when they were developing this, it's like there were meetings about what's like someone's job is to talk about, hey, we found 5 rat poops in this entire case or whatever of canned goods. Is that too much, too little? Like, is that harmful? Is this a red flag? Is this allowed? And someone has to go back to the diary and be like, it's allowed on July 13th, 1997. So, it's like so weird.
Yeah, it's like it seems like it could be arbitrary, but it's like it is very much a thing that needs to be in place, and it's not. It actually isn't arbitrary. Like, this is all like very scientific and like very rigorously examined. But even still, you might be thinking, what the fuck is going on in here on this day? It sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
That this has to exist in order, but it exists in order to hold food manufacturers accountable for keeping their processing facilities as clean and as up to code as possible.
And not just the facilities; it's like all along the chain.
The whole chain.
Yeah.
There's so much. I don't know that like people understand. I don't understand or know all of the ins and outs of our food processing or our agricultural to food processing to packaging to distribution. Like, our entire food supply chain is so complex, and we don't even know. We take it very much for granted.
Yes.
With that said, there is always going to be a little poop in the fucking pudding. According to the Food Defect Levels Handbook on the FDA website, this is directly from the FDA.gov, quote, the FDA set these action levels because it is economically impractical to grow, harvest, or process raw products that are totally free of non-hazardous, naturally occurring, unavoidable defects. Products harmful to consumers are subject to regulatory action whether or not they exceed the action levels. Put another way, these levels are the limits at which point the U.S. requires mandatory enforcement action to be taken against food manufacturers.
Oh.
So that's the line. It's like, there has to be a line. And if you step over that fucking line, you're done. You're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just have fucking bugs running willy-nilly through your food.
Yeah. That's when a recall kicks in and lawsuits happen. And so, like, that's when they're like, okay, there's going to be consequences now. Yeah.
So action can be taken against the manufacturer if the amount of contaminants in their food falls below these levels. So, yeah, like, again, our food is not grown in a lab where there's no contaminants in existence, like, yet. Well, some food is, but it's all like food's grown outside in fields and in nature and collected and harvested, and that whole process is very intensive and like, it's on a mass scale, so it's very, very difficult to completely not have bugs and critters anywhere up in that business. So yeah.
Also, I also want to say, processing plants also attract bugs because of like what's happening. I mean, there's like it's food and there's waste, and that attracts bugs, and like it's so important that all of these things are checked, and they are checked all the time. Like, the FDA comes and health inspections are done, and like they're, like you said, there's like there's quality assurance teams, and there's foremen, and there's like floor managers, and they're all working all the time to like make sure
keep
things
our
are
food
going
systems.
smooth. Yeah.
Yeah.
To keep the
our
food
food
clean, to
systems
keep the
safe.
employees safe. Like I don't know how much I've talked about this on the podcast, but my family was in the Italian meat business for a very long time. One of my uncles still is, but he's retiring soon. But it was my grandfather's company, and it was his father's before that. And there's a whole meat plant. And going in there, like, I'm just now realizing this, like, going in the break room and stuff, there was always, like, all this literature on all the walls everywhere about safety and cleanliness and all these things, and, like, diagrams about what you should and shouldn't do, and how you had, you know, if you were entering a certain area, you had to cover your work boots with, like, a hairnet equivalent. You had to wear a hairnet, you had to wear a lab coat, you had to wear gloves, like, and clocking in and out, you had to, like, go through, like, a little clean burst of air, and, like, so much stuff, so that everything was up to code. And just, like, the amount of people always working there and managing it, like, it's so that there aren't issues. Like, it's not just so the pepperoni is made on time, you know. It's like, they're making sure that it's clean and it's not going to be a problem later, because that's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we've all heard stories, like, about, you know, little bugs or frogs or whatever being found in salad or whatever. And it's just like,
oh my God,
that shit happens all the time. And it is just because we get our food from the earth. And then when we store the food, it attracts rodents and bugs and all kinds of stuff. So this is very, very, very much a thing. But when you go to Google this, you're going to see all kinds of clickbaity headlines like, quote, bugs, rodent hair, and poop. How much is legally allowed in the food you eat every day? Or, quote, maggots, rat hair, mouse poop, and more. Gross things the FDA allows in food. And, quote, here's how much mouse poop, maggots, and cigarette butts the FDA allows in your food.
Okay, but these aren't clickbait. This is real shit. Like, this is what we're talking about.
Okay, it is, but, like, that's a clickbait headline.
Oh,
like,
sure.
The FDA is not allowing that. It's just, this is the line. They have to have some sort of a reference point.
I see. Yeah, it's making it sound like they're looking the other way on all the maggots in your tortillas or whatever, and it's like, no, it's not. Yeah. They're working with food safety and, like, making and the CDC and stuff to determine, like, what's not going to make people sick.
Yeah, and if there is a company that somehow allows for people to smoke cigarettes on their fucking food processing floor, then they're going to get shut down, okay?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It's
also, like, they're, like, I don't know what place this would be also, because it's like no one wants to deal with the headache of that. Like, there's so many people that would stop someone from smoking near the food, like, near the production line before it would even be a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why there's rules and
Cigarette
regulations.
Butts. Yeah, so weird. Unless someone's just like has a pocket full of cigarette butts and they're, like, trying to pull out a glove and all the cigarette butts go into the food and they're like, oh no, and then everyone's like, it's okay.
Fucking sabotage, bitch.
Oh yeah, sabotage. A Band-Aid or... There's stuff that
shit happens. We don't know.
Happens.
We don't know.
Happens,
We don't know.
Yeah.
But okay, so wait, how much gross shit are we talking?
Oh my God.
Because
like,
quantifiably, like, there is a glossary in this handbook on the FDA's website, or you can even order it if you want to and have, like, a fucking hard copy if you want to.
No, thank you.
You can.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
if
internet
I want
exists.
Book of things not to eat in my home.
Yeah. What a fun thing to put on your shelf next to all your recipe books, though. I love that. That's fun. That's very subversive. I love that.
Yeah. Or, like, put it next to your Kama Sutra. It's, like, a very good...
keeps you grounded, you know?
Yeah. And it's, like you said, it's like when company's over, it's like, oh, what's this?
A conversation starter.
Yeah.
So there is a glossary of all the different types of food that are listed in the FDA handbook that have allowable maximum amounts of rodent poop, rodent filth, which is, like, hair, whatever, fucking rat nail, I don't know.
Oh God.
Rot, mold, foreign matter and insects and their filth and all kinds of other stuff.
Insects and their filth. Their poops.
Insects, yeah.
Yeah,
their
yeah.
poops.
And their dust, if they're a moth.
Their dust, their shells that
their
they
dusty farts.
Yeah,
oh,
whatever.
Yeah. Their
Their little exoskeletons, their antennae, yeah. Like a fucking rat whisker, what have you. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we talked about quality assurance and all that, and people like you can refer to this book if you want, but you're not the average person isn't buying enough stuff to like test the amount. You know what I mean? Like, we're not doing forensics ourselves on this shit.
No,
because mass production. However, everything is labeled. Like a product is always packaged and labeled with a serial number, and this is how we trace things that need to be a lot number. This is how we figure out if like there was a problem on the assembly line, on which date, on whose watch, whatever. If there is something fucked up, that's when shit gets recalled, and that's what happens. So.
Yeah, it's you know, I don't want to say this is all like policed on like a Scouts honor type situation, but a little bit it is. I mean, there's health checks going on all the time, but I think, and also like consumers do find things in their food and report it, and that's when we hear about recalls or you know, people get sick from eating something and then
it's like finding the golden ticket, but like in the worst way possible.
Yeah, it's like finding the Ebola ticket or the E. coli ticket. Yeah, because people start getting sick from iceberg lettuce.
I got the Beetle Dick. I got the Beetle Dick. I don't know.
But Daddy, I want a Beetle Dick. Ew. Can we stop right here and talk about the TikTok you sent me? P.S. You're not the first, but it felt more personal coming from you.
I'm so sorry.
Erin sent me, there's a TikTok, and it's a woman saying that it's like that moment when you realize like how Grandpa Joe's licking the snozberry or whatever,
and it has that like sexy sound from TikTok, you know, like one of like the sexy songs, and it's bad.
And
he's
then
like,
his tongue is like rapidly like cunnilingus licking
the snozberries.
It's so upsetting.
I'm so sorry. I'm scarred for life.
Okay.
So I have to bring you along on my trauma journey, okay?
Okay. Also, this is a good time to say I think we should do an episode on the making of that movie sometime. Because also, didn't he have a Coke fingernail that you could see in a couple shots? This man loved to party.
Bless.
Grandpa Joe was like, oh, try and keep me in this bed. I'm getting out of here. I'm meeting up with all the hot ladies. I'm doing coke off their titties. I want
to talk about how all those grandparents were in the bed together. Like, what the fuck were they doing?
There's a lot in that movie to unpack. Also, I kind of want to rank the adults in level of hotness, like everyone's parent, and also Slugworth. Because honestly, Slugworth,
bitch, ew.
I would. I think Gene Wilder's too much of like sweetheart.
I love Gene Wilder.
Oh, okay. Well, we have some things to talk through. Well, maybe we'll do that next week.
We'll do an episode. Yeah. Maybe that's our bonus episode. I don't know.
I can't wait.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay, but as I was saying, okay, so like, how is this policed essentially? And I found this from the FDA specifically. If there is no defect action level for a product this is why, because sometimes you might find something new. You know, even like when vape pens were created, maybe you find like a particle of a vape pen or something. Like new things come up all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Or like a Band-Aid or something like earlier we talked about a catch-all of like a foreign object or whatever. It's like foreign matter.
This reminded me of the guy who on Twitter posted that picture of shrimp tail that he, quote unquote, shrimp that he found in his Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
No.
First of all, that was a fucking hoax.
Yeah, that guy's full of
And
shit.
General Mills was like, oh, yes, hi, we're going to fucking sue the shit out of you for libel or slander or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Sorry, Topanga, because he's married to Danielle Fishel.
Ooh.
Awkward. But I've heard that guy's a piece of shit. He's a comic writer and people don't like him.
What a bad day when you get milkshake ducked on the internet and also slapped with like a, like, I don't know, like threat of a lawsuit from a huge corporation.
Oh
you
my
are
God.
not doing life right, my friend. Jesus.
Also, it's just like, you think this is funny?
I don't know.
Not a funny. It's like
What
a
a
prank.
weird thing.
It's like an April Fool's prank. That's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's gone
the level.
horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Rough.
Okay. So there is stuff that isn't maybe like already cataloged in the diary of gross ass things that you can find in your food that are allowable. So if there is no defect action level for a product, or when finding show levels or types of defects that do not appear to fit the action level criteria. So like if it's not already been documented and they haven't like specifically made a note for this like specific scenario.
Got
The FDA evaluates the samples and decides on a case-by-case basis. In this procedure, FDA's technical and regulatory experts in filth and extraneous materials.
What a job.
I know. I'm just, hi.
I work in filth
I'm
and
an
extraneous
FDA's
material.
technical and regulatory expert in filth.
I'm filthy.
Oh.
Okay.
I work for the FDA. Oh, what? What quadrant?
division?
Yeah, what division? What
Quadrant.
What division? Film. I'm totally doing a Trixie Mattel impression too. Filth. Filth. Extraneous materials.
I want to work. Shit, I want to work at the FDA in filth. Oh my god, that sounds fun.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay. Well, they use, so those people, the filth experts, they use a variety of criteria, often in combination, in determining the significance and regulatory impact of the finding. I just thought, what if it was your kink to be married to this person? And then they come home and you've like made them dinner. You're like, how was your day? And then they tell you about all the filthy things that they had to like. That'd be a great marriage.
There's somebody out there for everybody.
I know there truly is. Okay, I'm getting very sidetracked, but it's very funny.
Oh my god.
Okay, the criteria considered is based on the reported findings. So like, for example, lengths of hairs, sizes of insect fragments, they're beetle dicks, distribution of filth in the sample, and combinations of filth types found. Moreover, FDA interprets the findings considering available scientific information, for example, ecology of animal species represented, and the knowledge of how a product is grown, harvested, and processed. So they're like, look, what did we find here? Does it make sense does it make sense that we found this type of bug that is usually found on tomatoes in this tomato container? Yes, that makes sense. It's like, okay, so now we have to go and determine, like, based on the levels that we've seen, is this an allowable level? Does this harm anyone? Blah, blah, blah. And then they put it in their diary, dear diary. Okay, and fun side note, I just want to talk about this real quick. So I think I've mentioned my friend's husband on here before. He's my friend too. But his job is to recreate the scene of accidents mostly. He's like,
so fucking cool.
It's so cool. And it's also gross, but sometimes it's not gross. Like sometimes it's like he's recreating like a death of a person in a really fucked up accident, and that's upsetting. But sometimes it's just like industrial things, like what happened so that this thing, so that like all these got contaminated, and like, was it the fault of a worker? Was it the fault of equipment? So that they can determine how, like, whether the insurance pays for it, whether the company's liable, whether the equipment's liable, blah, blah, blah. So Pete reminded me that a few years ago, he actually had to investigate a very high profile breakfast bar.
Oh my God.
That you would eat for breakfast, like a cereal bar type thing.
Okay.
Because people were complaining. I think maybe they were making them sick or they tasted weird. And so they got enough complaints that they had to go back. There was over the allowable limit of plastic in the filling.
Oh no.
So he had to like go and test. And also, okay, because this happens, I think companies have to keep samples of their, you were saying like lot numbers and stuff. They have to keep samples of what they used on file, right? For a while until those are all sold through or whatever. And so he had to go back and test the like filling.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it was bad. There was too much plastic in it. It was gross. It was nasty.
Oh fuck, dude. Yeah. That's wild.
Oh, and then God. And guess what? I think I was going to make a joke here and I didn't want to give it away and I don't remember.
They found plastic.
And guess what? It was full of plastic.
It was full of plastic.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's horrifying. But it happens. And there are some accounts of this like being crazy, but what is like a real world example of allowances and what we eat, aside from like this anecdote about your friend who does the insurance
because that wasn't necessarily like quantified too. It's just like there's more plastic in this. But so we're gonna talk about next. I want to talk about another friend of mine. Oh my God, who started a website called Fatherly. Plug to
great website.
Yeah, plug to Mike Rothman. It's a very good website for dads, like new dads and stuff. It has lots of dad advice on it. It's but it's like he was part of the founders of Thrillist, so it's like very fun. And anyway,
very millennial.
And so there was an article on Fatherly, and it was a roundup of the different foods and their allowances of gross things from the FDA, but they've quantified it for us. So like,
right.
Basically, the FDA regulations, like you said, are like there's just like so many allowed, but they're gonna give it like a little bit more something we can understand. So
more context here.
Yeah, more context. So let's talk about produce first, which we know has bugs in it. Like we've said a bunch of times, there's bugs in produce, so that's not that weird. But for broccoli, for example, the allowance or even like what you can expect if you're eating broccoli is 60 aphids, thrips, or mites per every 100 grams of broccoli.
Okay.
That's 100 grams of broccoli.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, but like broccoli's heavy. I feel like you'd eat maybe 100 grams of broccoli in a week.
That's why you got to wash the shit out of your fucking produce.
That's why you wash it. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For a fruit example, so berries are allowed to come with 4 larvae or 10 whole insects per 500 grams. That's way more weight and mass. And 12 pounds of canned peaches are permitted 1 larva as long as it doesn't exceed 5 millimeters in length. So they'll fucking find it and pull that sucker out and measure it.
Yeah.
And then most other fruits on the list are simply allowed to have bugs in them as long as they don't cause the fruit to rot. So like
you get an apple and there's
a bunch of grapes. Yeah, like they can have bugs. You're supposed to wash them as long as they're not affecting the fruit in a gross way.
Yeah.
So
like there's not like fruit flies swarming all over it before you even get it home. Like,
which is why I don't buy bananas.
Really?
We cannot buy whenever we buy bananas, we have fruit flies. And when we don't buy bananas, we don't have fruit flies.
You got to get a little cup of vinegar and just little drop of dish soap on top of it.
We have the little traps, but it's
they have a short life cycle, so just keep your bananas like in the fridge or something.
They're in and out. Yeah, you'll just buy 3 bananas or whatever and eat them real quick. In terms of refrigerated items, like citrus juices, for example, are allowed 5 fly eggs or 1 maggot per 250 milliliters.
Oh.
Salmon is allowed by the FDA 50 parasitic cysts per 100 pounds of fish in the salmon family. Ew.
No, thank you.
What's the salmon family?
Like different types of salmon, like sockeye salmon.
Just say salmon.
Farm raised,
Oh,
wild
yeah.
caught.
If you're
Alaskan
farm raising
salmon.
my salmon, it should have no parasitic cysts. You should be fucking you made it.
Unfortunately, I've been watching some shit on the news about like tilapia farms
Yeah.
and shit in like Indonesia, and that's where we get a majority of our tilapia because wild caught tilapia is like
Been
like
overfished.
It's been overfished. And so a lot of it's farm raised now, and some of those farms are
Infested.
very disgusting.
Oh my God. And
Yeah.
also like
That's why I can't eat fish anymore.
I
and
just,
especially now, not
I never
anymore.
could. Yeah. I really never could.
Yeah.
Although weirdly, I've been eating like the fake crab because I've been making little poke bowls. It's still fish, but it's like I can't eat it anymore though because of my pre-diabetes because it's a lot of sugar. I don't know if I'm actually pre-diabetic, but my blood says watch it. It says,
Take it easy.
Hey, pump the brakes.
Yeah.
And you know the first thing I'm cutting out, fish.
Yeah.
The morning pastry will come at some point. Okay. But so everyone's probably thinking, oh yeah, like the food line, like fresh foods obviously have bugs. You know, the fish is an animal. Maybe it can have bugs in it as well. You know, like things lay their eggs.
It's in the ocean. Who knows?
It's in the ocean. Yeah, it eats other animals. Blah blah blah. But what about like pantry items? They don't have bugs, right? Wrong.
Bitch, that's where they all are.
So many bugs. So like for tomato products, like canned tomatoes, you know, per 100 grams, the FDA allows either 10 fly eggs, 5 fly eggs, and 1 maggot, or 2 maggots in most tomato products.
Ugh,
Which
God.
again, it's like, how are we making these decisions? It's like you could have 10 fly eggs, or you know what's also the equivalent of 10 fly eggs? That's 5 fly eggs plus a maggot. A maggot is worth 10. A maggot is worth 5 fly eggs. Is basically what someone has decided. Like they're all a currency.
It's whoever works in Filth.
Oh.
They're all deciding this.
Oh, how much is 1 maggot worth? 5 fly eggs.
For every 5 fly eggs, 1 maggot.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Okay. Pasta. That's a hard shelf stable item made from flour. Why would it have any, like flour and water? Why would it have any? Who knows? But the FDA allows up to 225 insect fragments per 225 grams of macaroni. That's 1 piece of bug per gram. Dude.
You know what? Just grind up all the fucking bugs into my flour. Just like get it over with, you know?
Well, maybe that's like what ends up happening. So like
that's
they're
what
not
I think.
able.
Yeah.
Also 4.5 rodent hairs per 225 grams.
Extra protein.
Yep. For like spices, 475 insect fragments and 2 rodent hairs for every 50 grams of pepper. That seems significant.
Listen, and you can blend anything into pepper and it'll taste good.
That's true. And also it's a spice. It's like you can't even see. If anything, if the bug's ground that small that it looks like a fleck of spice, who cares? Fine.
Also, like, how can you process any other flavor? You can't process
pepper.
it. Yeah, through pepper. Pepper is defeating everything in its path. Okay.
Oh, speaking of, cayenne pepper is allowed 50 insect fragments and 6 rodent hairs per 25 grams of cayenne pepper.
I feel like a spicy spice is killing anything anyway, you know?
Yeah. And paprika is similar with 75 insect fragments and 11 rodent hairs per 25 grams. Okay, but then we get into like more, speaking of what I'll be eating after this, which is my nighttime chocolate chip cookie fresh out of the oven. Cocoa powder, the FDA will let 60 insect fragments and 1 rodent hair into every 100 grams of chocolate in your cake. Or whatever, or cocoa powder in your beverage. It's just cocoa powder. And then in flour, 75 insect fragments and 1 rodent hair per 50 grams of flour. That's a lot. But again, we don't know the size of these fragments and blah, blah, blah. The thing that's upsetting to me is one rodent hair. It feels like they're putting one in. It's like, also, are there companies that are doing such a good job at like managing this and they never have any that like sometimes they're like putting them in just so they don't look weirdly like too clean. You know what I mean?
I know. It's hard. I don't know. And it's like depends on the rodent. Like if it's like a greasy fucking rat, you know?
Yeah.
Or like a silky little mouse with, you know, really good hygiene. I don't know.
Or like like who let a possum in here? But there's a possum, you know, like.
Yeah, like
well,
a possum.
It gets one hair.
A whisker is way thicker than any, you know. So.
True. Yeah, it didn't.
Or like a fingernail.
Yeah.
You know, I find my cats like you know, when they claw stuff, they sometimes they're, you know, that's like their little nails fall off.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They like shed their little nails, you know.
Oh.
And so maybe a possum's doing that, maybe a rat's doing that. I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I don't know. I don't want to know, honestly. I'm not a fan of rodents, but
me neither. I mean, it sounds really disgusting and horrifying, and like I hope like you're listening to this and you're not freaking out or, you know, having a hard time.
I'm not
coping with this.
I've compartmentalized it. I don't really care.
Yeah, for sure. I've also like swallowed worse things. Okay.
Oh,
you know,
filthy.
So filthy.
I like that you plugged your nostril.
I was just itching my nose.
Oh, I thought that you were trying to make it more nasally. You're like,
oh, but
filthy.
Also that, yeah. Filthy. Listen.
Yeah.
We're okay with it. It's okay. It's okay.
It's fine.
It's fine.
We're
okay.
I didn't eat my lunch doing research for this because I was kind of like, ew. But right now I can think about it. It's not that upsetting. And you're right. Like, we've eaten worse things. And like, I think the question is any of this a health concern? It sounds gross, but it's not a health concern. Like, for the most part. Like, obviously, the poop. Is gross. And like,
it reminds me of the movie The Help. Or the book.
The poop pie.
The shit pie, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The best scene in that movie.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
But you know, like, poop aside, if we're talking about bugs, there's nothing inherently wrong with eating bugs. I think there's even been a movement in the last few years trying to find more sustainable proteins in the Western world, like grasshoppers and crickets, and like figuring out how to make them palatable to the Western world and like maybe utilize them in like, I mean, they could be utilized even in things we use now, like protein powders or things where it's like hidden maybe a little bit more. Because we're just, as a culture in the US specifically, we haven't really gotten around to eating bugs. And I say specifically like Western culture because there are certainly cultures around the world who do eat bugs. Like, they'll eat whole bugs, like street food in some countries, or like
there's even like high end like that, like places, like people who are like creating high end like dining experiences that are based on like DJ loves Mexico City. It's one of his favorite places he's ever traveled to.
Yeah.
And there's like, you know, Michelin star restaurants that serve like you know,
crickets.
like crickets and ant larvae tacos. Like, he's eaten all that stuff before. Like, there's like a world in which all this exists in a dining experience, you know, and you know, and it's like high protein. Like, if we just rebranded this in the Western world, like in the States or in the UK, is like, you know, like sustainable protein or adaptogenic fucking you know, protein powder or whatever, like, and it's just like crickets and like ant larvae or whatever, then fucking all the influencers would be all over it and nobody'd have an issue with it.
I know. Yeah. I think it's like, as long as it tastes good. I think the thing that's hard for people is looking at it and eating it. But like,
grind it up, make a flour.
Grind it up. Yeah. Make a flour. Yeah, exactly. Or add it to a sauce, like you know, you can make like a curry and grind it up and put it in there, and then you're getting like more protein or something. But I mean, there are restaurants even in Long Beach that you can get crickets or grasshoppers.
I've eaten crickets before.
Yeah.
Like I've eaten I've definitely eaten like grubs, you know, like in in a way that's like,
You're supposed to be eating it.
that's supposed to be eating. Yeah, like I've eaten all kinds of stuff. Like I used to not be an adventurous eater, but like if bugs are like the next, I think it's the future. Truly, there's like people who will have who have fucking TED Talks on this shit.
Yeah,
and it is like it's a thing. So we just need to get used to it. But like it being surreptitiously in our food is like not the jam. So that's why we have the FDA.
Right. Yeah. If you're buying something and you're not wanting it there, that's where it's weird.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I mean, that's pretty much it for today, I think.
Yeah. Sorry if we grossed you out.
Yeah. Hopefully we didn't. Hopefully we made you hornier than grossed out.
I think so. This was like very much a like unexpectedly horny episode.
Honestly, I feel like it's always my personality to go there, and I usually hold back, but I'm not going to anymore.
No, don't do.
There's no need to.
No.
And like it's like the intersection of horny and the movie Willy Wonka somehow is like that's where I live.
I think that should be our next episode.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. We'll do that next week. I can't wait.
We're just having our like strategy meeting now while we're
at it. This is our status. We're planning it.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, hey, listen. Follow us on social media
at DTFU Podcast, all the places.
Mm-hmm. Go to our website. It's dtfupodcast.com. Mm-hmm. You can find so much fun stuff there. You can submit a story if you'd like.
Yes.
What if you tell us the weirdest thing you've ever found in a fucking box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, bitch?
Oh, yes. Oh my God. I want to know the weirdest thing people have found in their food.
I want to know
even
the weirdest
at a
thing.
restaurant.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, that's good.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening, and listen here. Stay excellent to yourselves
and each other.
Bye.
Bye.